Happy Friday, everybody. John Emmett, the first one up here on my screen, saying good evening from Weymouth. Spoken with John on and off. Michael Frank, happy Friday. Hello, Michael, with a looks like a grandchild in your arms. Nice shot. Nice shot indeed. I hope my beloved mother is on today, Julia. She pinged me, my cousin Pete. Good evening. And cousin, I should finish that. Cousin Pete helping to get my mom on the air. Pedro Foiling Sailor out walking and swimming at South Curl, watching Reachable, watching replay. Hope you're on. Graham Sweeney in Yell, Scotland. Peter Taylor, New York City. Ed Worley down in SoCal. We got a great show today. I'm really proud of the show, Julia.
We're going to have a good time.
We are indeed. Gordon Smith saying hi from Denmark.
Rainy Denmark.
Rainy Denmark.
We have real sunshine.
We have a beautiful day here in the marina in San Francisco as we are about to get this one off the dock. See you looking at that shot on that, where it's usually a picture of whoever our guest is or something else, me or whoever. That's what I do. I sail, I drink.
And I know things.
And I know things.
That's a good one.
It is a good one. That came from Ed Worley and Martha Peterson and a few others. Boy, Julie, you are in blue and yellow today. What's the occasion?
Oh, yes. I'm trying to be faithful to our
Oakland,
San Francisco,
our
Warriors.
Golden State Warriors, our basketball team,
Right.
who are playing tomorrow in the playoffs against Sacramento. The big deal here. Welcome, everybody. Speaking of big deals, our show number 600. Now, it seems like only yesterday was show 600, and
Yes.
we're almost in a tenth of the way to 700. Very seasonal scarf, Julia, Gordon Smith is saying. It is a nice scarf.
Thank you. I wish I remember who made it for me.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Zhao Alexander is in Lisbon, Lisboa. Fritz Mueller down in Miami. Julie Ahrens. Hi, Fozy. It's sunny and warm, she says, in Cleveland, Ohio.
Good idea.
Good idea. Now, I want to go back that shot we had just a minute ago, shall we? You see this shot?
Yep.
I had as the kind of the splash card, the billboard for the opener today. Not the very first opener, which is the theme of today's show. That is a photo, you know from where and whence?
Yep.
Clayton Embley saying hi from Bourbon Country. That is the 12-meter worlds. It's another shot. We have several people have taken that same famously good shot. That's Sharon Green of Ultimate Sailing. Long time friend. She has those great calendars, and she shoots for Rolex and for any number of other people living down in your part of where you grew up. She's in Santa Barbara, just in from Carpinteria.
Right.
And her Ultimate Sailing calendar, I commend it to you, even though it's now the bloody hell, April. But beautiful photos of hers on her calendar every year. She's been doing that for 25 plus years, I think. And Clayton Embley's named it right. He's saying, yes, that's the 1986 12-meter worlds in Fremantle, outside of Perth, in WA, Western Australia. And that is indeed the case. Bob Walker saying, glad to be watching today. Glad to have you on with us. Now, Julie, you know what else is going on in WA? Look at this.
Oh.
This is a Cat 5 hurricane that went ashore last night, a cyclone, as they call it down there in the southern hemisphere. Powerful storm hits Western Australia. I don't want to say luckily, but for those of you in the southern part of the state of WA, it was up in the northwest corner. A powerful cyclone has hit Western Australia as a Cat 5 storm, setting a wind speed record, but sparing populated areas from major damage. I mean, it's not exactly a high populated area, but there are some big mining centers up there. Severe tropical cyclone Ilsa struck the state close to Port Hedland, the world's largest iron ore export hub, and I thought that was upper Michigan. the world's largest iron ore export hub just before midnight last night,
That's
which,
really
of course, it's now Saturday morning down there. But it was a big deal. Have a look at this with just brief weather report.
Cyclone Ilsa crossed the Pilbara coast late last night with destructive wind and very heavy rain. Let's check out what happened during the crossing, starting with a look at Thursday morning. At that time, this was the location of Ilsa as a Category 4 storm just off the northern coast there and west of Broome. Through the course of the day on Thursday, Ilsa moved southwards, intensifying as it did so, and it became a Category 5 storm yesterday evening. That's the top of the scale. That is as high as they come. Category 5 is the very strongest rating for tropical cyclones. It was a Category 5 storm as it crossed the coastline around about midnight local time. Since then, through Friday, Ilsa has maintained its tropical cyclone categorization. It is now a Category 3 storm near Telfer, and forecast to continue to move.
Okay, so you get the idea what happened there. It was quite a storm, and luckily, again, it wasn't exactly a super high populated area as it's not up there in the Northwest. I've been up there. When we were doing the Cup in 86, 87, we went up to Broome and Calgary, which is farther south in the mining country. But that's the latest there. Now look at this. Courtesy of the Telegraph in Cornwall, yesterday and today, huge waves crashed over the coast.
Wow.
The storm also downed trees and power lines, leaving hundreds in blackout. Of course, down the southwest corner of London. The Met Office said hail and thunder is expected in northern parts of the UK with some sunny intervals.
Look at those waves.
Winds which were predicted to reach speeds of 70 miles per hour, but actually topped 90,
Wow.
will ease and become mostly light to gentle. That in Cornwall, southwest and the western part of the UK.
Wow.
Courtesy of the Telegraph. Excuse me, Julie, you know what day it is today? There's our only hint. What day is it?
Good Friday.
Exactly. It's Orthodox Good Friday. Well done. Orthodox Good Friday celebrated Friday before their Orthodox Easter, according to the, I didn't know this, Julian calendar, and falls on April 14th this year. While many Western churches follow the Gregorian calendar while celebrating events, Orthodox churches retained the Julian calendar. Thus, they observe Good Friday and celebrate Easter at a much later. What was our Easter 2 weeks ago? Than the Western churches. This day is also known as Great Friday, Holy Friday, and Holy and Great Friday. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I ask you for extra credit. Which countries celebrate Orthodox Good Friday?
Greece.
Greece is probably the primary one, but there are what, 14, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11 countries.
Montenegro.
Bosnia,
Romania.
Bosnia and Herzegovina are, it's a regional holiday, but they're national holidays in those other countries. So just a little bit of news there for this Friday, the 14th of April. And if you're celebrating, may you have a blessed Orthodox Good Friday and, of course, Easter this weekend. A bit of a serious note. I ran this story. I can't remember if it was Tuesday or last Friday, but there was this stabbing here in San Francisco, and we ran the story in part because it's a tech guy, and it was in a corner of the country, a corner of the city where normally this sort of stuff wouldn't happen, down in the financial district. But it was 2:30 in the morning, and I warned everybody then, there's more to this story. This doesn't sound like some homeless person or some thug or some other crouton. It sounds more like sex, drugs, and rock and roll gone amiss. And that was just an assumption on my part. What did I know? And I didn't. But turns out, after Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson and a few others launched right away without knowing the facts, launched in on our beloved city here. We've got lots of problems in this city.
We do.
Don't we? But launched in about this and homeless people. It turns out that this guy here in the lower left, a guy called Nima Momeni, who I believe is Iranian, but he's American living here. He speaks Farsi according to his paperwork online. He was arrested yesterday and appeared in court today. That's his sister in the fancy white trow, and her husband. They live in Millennium Tower, Julia.
Oh, did it?
And apparently, these two guys, the guy that got stabbed, Bob Lee, who was killed, and this Nima Momeni, were at her apartment late. You look askance. One hears these things. I've got Fozy who are reporting in from everywhere, including the court this morning. Look at this. This morning, Nima Momeni's sister, Kazar, waiting outside of court to go in, where her brother was going to be arraigned, or so we thought. Momeni will remain in custody without bail. And did not enter a plea or make any comment in the courtroom. He is next scheduled to appear on April 25th. So we don't really know what's going on, but this looks like it was a domestic issue of some sort, not San Francisco thuggery. So everybody that jumps ahead into, making conclusions about what's going on, be forewarned. We try not to do that on this show. I think we have a pretty good record, Julia, of not doing that. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, we do.
Wouldn't you say?
Yes,
You agree?
I do.
But wait, there's more.
Oh.
Paul Homchick, thank you for sending that along. I mean, this looks like there's a lot of theories, and I'm not going to speculate on the theories, but there was something amiss. There was something going on. It wasn't homeless people. Now, we have plenty of those, sadly. And the only reason I'm running this is because so many of you
Exactly.
have pinged us. And, Julia, we hear from people all day long saying, hey, what's wrong with your bloody city?
I know. How can you possibly live there?
Exactly. And it's a problem. The place has gone to hell in the last 5+ years.
Yes.
And speaking of which, this article was sent by another Fozy this morning and from the UK. Why won't San Francisco save itself? America's most progressive city has overlooked its own degradation. This is a website called The Post. I think it's UK based. April is the cruelest month, or at least it is in San Francisco. The city is already well known for its chronic problems with homelessness, drug abuse, and crime, but the negative headlines are now piling up. In the last 2 weeks alone, a tech entrepreneur, aforementioned, was left to die in the street after being stabbed. The city's former fire commissioner was battered with a crowbar right here in the marina where we live. A homeless woman gave birth on a sidewalk, no joke. A council meeting to discuss policing was canceled due to vandalism. Did you see that?
Yes.
Of a fiber optic cable that was covering the meeting, and apparently if the public can't see the meeting, they can't hold it. Vandalism to the fiber optic network. And under siege from shoplifters, the city center branch of Whole Foods has closed its doors.
Yes.
Okay, now, actually the murder rate's gone down to pre-pandemic levels or below. We got plenty of problems, but most of it is drugs. And most of it, I say, I don't know what you think, Julia, it's because we just allowed drugginess here, full stop. Come here, we'll give you drugs, we'll give you food, we'll give you housing.
And we just opened the southern border to 2 million unknown people, half of whom probably traffic drugs.
Half of them, who knows? Julia, you got to lean toward the closet. You're leaning, there you go. Look at the difference. There you go, you're in the middle of the frame again. So back to this Whole Foods thing, which I heard from, I don't know how many, I don't know, half dozen of you. What's going on? You're closing this flagship store of Whole Foods Market, which is a high, it's an upscale market. And this from that same article in the Post. That last one, meaning the closure of Whole Foods reference, might seem the most trivial, but it is also the most iconic. Whole Foods is the ultimate rich, liberal brand, an upmarket grocer overflowing with fresh produce. If you can't get organic quinoa in San Francisco, then what's the point? I mean, where's my bloody quinoa? There are other
brand new store which isn't really open yet.
Well, no, it did open. It's been open for a year down on Market Street. Yeah. It did. So it is open, and thank you for the concern from all of you. It's there are some problems, but hopefully the place is going to come good sooner than later.
But it's moving more slowly than anybody wants.
Well, the bigger problem is as people are leaving, and the economy is going to tank because the tax base is shrinking rapidly. Companies are leaving and so on, but it's still a beautiful place to live. Nice climate.
Yes.
And a beautiful yacht club or 5 right here. Great sailing on our reliably windy and iconically beautiful bay. Thank you to Andrew McIrvin, who sent that story in from the UK. Well, just one of the people saying, hey, what's going on over there? Well, it's worse than we'd like, but it's never as bad as some of these stories and Elon Musk and these other people make it out. So, okay, enough of that. By the way, Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin will be our guest here on Sailing Illustrated next Tuesday. And if you think that's a cool photo, look at this that I found this morning. I said, hey, may I use this one, Andrew? Because he said, by all means, I love that photo. That's his, of course, Andrew, the IMA, International Maxi Association Secretary General, a friend of Sailing Illustrated extraordinaire and proud grandpa. That is his grandson, Larry. He says, quote unquote, we are great friends. I think that was New Year's Day. Isn't that a great photo?
It absolutely is.
Terrific, terrific. So Andrew will be with us Tuesday. And let's get on should we check? Well, better check in here with the comments. Gordon Smith in Denmark, the quinoa supply situation is indeed concerning. Andrew McIrvin looks not unlike Prince Harry in that photo, you think? You think?
Prince Harry.
He does a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Andrew would want to look like Prince Harry. You know what? I almost ran a thing about Prince Harry on here, and I can't, the S fight that's going on between Prince Harry and his dad, but I'm not going to. Let's carry on here with the comments. What else? Gordon Smith. I'm glad my local Whole Foods is in great shape. Wonderful place. Stingray up in Seattle is saying. I'm late to the party. What drugs with drugs? Free drugs, Steve Atkins is saying in Connecticut. What goes with drugs? You are really selling that place, John Emmett is saying. Yeah, I know, but so many of you have written, and we appreciate your concern. Chris actually saying hello to everybody. Warren Schasser checking in from Brisbane. And Julie Ahrens, who is of the Jewish persuasion, says the Jewish calendar determines Easter because the Last Supper was a Passover Seder. Nicely done. Now watch this, Julie. We're going to get to you right now. And before we go any further in this show, I am going to adjust your camera. Look at that. Because I can't get you to move, so I'm going to adjust your camera. Look at that.
I did.
Huh?
I also moved.
I'm so proud of these cameras. We've got two of these gimbal cameras that are remote control pan tilt zoom PTZ cameras. And over here on this stick, we have one for Julia now, and we can zoom her in. In fact, if we want to see her up close and personal or want to zoom her out, we can. But okay, so much for my technical nerdity. Is that a word?
Sure.
Technical nerdity. And I'll tell you, the other techno nerd is John Emmett, and he is superb. Wait till you see his videos. They're getting better and better. Andrew McIrvin, no! What's that mean? No. Fix the supply chain. Refine to Gordon Smith. Happy we'll have to fix. No. Stay off the black BART. Yeah, the BART, which is our subway system and train station through the Bay Area, stands for what, Julia?
Bay Area Rapid Transit.
Bay Area Rapid Transit. Joining what? Joining late, Bill Wingo saying, what did I miss? Not much. John Emmett's looking forward to the next big Olympic classes regatta at Hyères in France. Policies of SF are great until you run out of other people's money, Clayton Embley is saying. May Julia please raise her mic. Yeah, it's down there on there you go, Julia. Thank you very much.
There I am, thank you.
That's better. I'll raise her mic level too just a bit. I saw another comment. And the sailing, Sean Hogan, the sailing is superb, as we said. Oh, I see what Andrew McIrvin was objecting. He says, I'm not like Harry. I don't know. I have a photo of Harry in a hat like that, but we won't run that until we get Andrew on the show next Tuesday. Okay, we have a Bravo Zulu to start out the show, and this was a big surprise, and we're talking about Team New Zealand, who set the land speed sailing record in December, and they eclipsed their own record in February.
Do the full run. It seems pretty consistent down here for breeze and direction. Coming to you. Come on.
We we're really coming here to pack the craft up. Whilst we broke the previous record by nearly 20 kilometres an hour, which is a great achievement, I was semi-content but not 100% content. And 222 is a great number. It's bloody fast, to be honest. It's pretty hairy and pretty sketchy driving the thing at those speeds. But, you know, I just want a little bit more, and I probably won't be content until I get there, to be honest.
Well, it's lovely to be back here, like Vienna. The main intention to be here is to pack the thing up and send it back to Auckland, which has become quite important. It just so happens it coincides with a great little weather window and Glenn's excitement, so away we go.
I haven't had an opportunity to see the craft run in the salt. There's only so much you can estimate and learn behind a screen, and already just being here, I'm just staggered at almost the brutality of this place, how variable it is. That's the thing that shocked me the most, is probably the salt. You know, you look around you and it just looks white and consistent, but it's so far from consistent. The more you drive, you hit all these totally different surface conditions, so Glenn's got a real job on his hands trying to thread the needle and find the grip in the right places where there's wind as well. Right now there's a late bit of puff in the day that could just be what we need to eke a little bit more out of it.
Check, double check. Yeah, loud and clear.
I'm pretty happy to go canopy down if you guys are happy.
Chocks out, and she's all done.
Yeah, I'm getting going here now.
2-0 at the top end, 2-1 at the band, 168 angle. 21 top end, 21 at the band.
Really puppy.
Yep, just be careful of the marbles up here.
214.
It's a good shakedown run though.
214, top there, guys. Just taking a little head jump in here.
Yeah, he's just doing something different.
65.
He's using all his runway on this one.
It's a good run. It's going to be a good run.
Plenty going on here.
Plenty going on. He's 22 at the van.
95. Gonna hold a little. Bearing away here. That's a new record at 225. Well done, everyone.
225.
Slowing down.
Pretty much 2 days before pack up, we've actually set a new benchmark for the world's fastest wind-powered craft, superseding our own previous record. Pretty excited. You know, I'd have loved to have gone a little bit quicker, but I think that's me. I think this is how it ends. I'd love to go quicker all the time, but I think you've got to pull up stumps at some stage, and absolutely stoked for the team. We've pushed some pretty big boundaries with this project, and you've got to enjoy the journey along the way, but sometimes when you get to the destination, it's pretty nice as well. So we set a new benchmark and couldn't be happier.
Less than 10 months after they first sailed that boat,
Yeah.
the team set a new world record in just 23 knots of wind.
Wow.
23 knots.
That's incredible.
And they're going 200 and what? 225? What was the number? Big. Okay, that.
I can't wait to see what other things come out of that.
Well, here's something. Now, you know us. We tell you the story, but now we tell you the backstory, right?
Right?
Right? We tell you the backstory. And do you remember this? There was a very brief shot in that video. And by the way, that was first there was the teaser, the trailer that we played, I don't know, some time ago. Now this is the video up on YouTube about them setting this record, which they didn't tell us. They aired it on TV in a documentary down in New Zealand on what, TV3? Somebody knew that. And somebody said, in fact, there's a new name up here. Welcome. TVIC, TVIC 1. Impressive speed, but the TV show was lacking in any detail about the craft and was mainly just about them waiting, which left me feeling like I was just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
John Emmett saying, after this, Glenn, meaning Glenn Ashby, is going to find that AAC boat's a bit slow. Jay Rendell, who's up in fast boat country in Scout country, saying, hello from Minnesota where the ice is melting quickly in the 80-degree weather we've had this week. Wow, 80 Fahrenheit. Wow. That's warm. The Kiwis should have invested in a salt Zamboni, Bill Wingrove. He must be a hockey fan. What's the purpose of the boomtail fin? Why on land yacht, not on a boat? Fabian Harrelson's asking. Horonuku is a flying beast. Stingray says, fantastic achievement. Is this the latest speed ratified certified? Well, guess what, Stingray? You asked the question, we have the answer. Now you see that, and Stingray and I did not plan this. That was not a seeded question. You see this? There was a brief picture in that video of this group assembled, and I saw it, and I took a screen grab of it, and I sent it to Richard Slater, who is there on the right. Richard is not a member, as far as I was aware, and he's not, because he's now the chief umpire again for the next Cup for AC37. So what's he doing there in all black with Emirates Team New Zealand? Had he joined them as their rules advisor? No, that's still our longtime friend, Mr. Green. And Richard is, again, the chief umpire. He was there as the Fisley rep, F-I-S-L-Y. Now, have you ever heard of Fisley?
I was going to say, tell me.
Well, of course we will. We can't leave you hanging here. We're going to tell you what the Fisley rep is.
Yeah.
Fisley.
No relation to Posies.
No, could be, though. It is an organization, French-based, that I'd never heard of, and I went to their website while I was texting back and forth with Richard in Sydney yesterday. The International Land and Sand Yachting Federation. In French, starts with Federation International, I don't know, sand and land, whatever it is, yachting. Fisley, and he was the Fisley rep. So sure enough, there is an organization, Fisley, the World Land Sailing Organization, has nothing to do with world sailing or the World Land Speed, the World Sailing Speed Council, I guess. And yes, it is certified. Look at that.
Wow.
We've got the document signed by the officers of Fisley. And they have, of course, raised the bar to 225.58 kilometers per hour. That's what, 3 or 4 kilometers faster than the record they set in December. And this they did in February. Didn't tell anybody because they wanted it to come out on TV when they ran the documentary in New Zealand a few nights ago. So this is the thumbnail, the cover of their YouTube video, which I just played. But, you know, you got to look at the notes that come with it. And ETNZ and Glenn Ashby's world record, yada, 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 yada. But as revealed in Land of Speed, the documentary covering the Emirates Team New Zealand Land Speed campaign, the new world record was relatively short-lived, as pilot Glenn Ashby explains, of the opportunistic window presented to the team. In February, we were really coming back to the lake to pack up the craft, as he explained in the video. We had to get Horonuku and the containers back to New Zealand. But a few days out, clouds, Roger, whose last name I'll think of in a moment, but clouds, our meteorologists indicated there was a, Roger Badham, there we go, I got it. Our meteorologists indicated there was a possible weather opportunity, so, get this, so we rattled our dags and got to the lake. Julia, what does that mean, rattled our dags? Do you have any idea? Do any of you on here who are not Australian know what it means to rattle our dags?
No.
Well, what do you think it means?
They're daggers.
Well, okay. Not right, not quite. And let's see who's got the comments. Hamish Ross down in Auckland saying, wouldn't an ice boat of the same sort be faster? Baton Rouge saying, wheels up. Who's the female? I assume that's Glenn's wife or girlfriend or something. I don't know. Petey, 309, hello from Michigan. Love, Mom and nephew. So that is Petey, my nephew, who is helping, I guess, getting my beloved mother on the air in her new venue. Does Salt Lake count as land? I guess it does, Bill Wingro. I believe he was the Fisley rep back in December, too. Stingray saying, yes, Roger Badham. Thank you, Peter Selwyn. I did a couple cup campaigns with Roger. Dagger. No, Fabian Harrelson. Graham Sweeney, as usual. Got it. You see what he says, Julia?
Yes. Sheep's ass.
Well, not quite. It's more specific than that. But, of course, we got the answer to that. Bring your dagger. They put the haul ass on, Clayton Embley. Yes. They hauled their ass to the lake, is what we might say in American vernacular, and we're not very nice, but this requires something we haven't had in a long time. That is Tom going off on another tangent. And Julia, we need a T word. Tom's tangential something to shorten up that lower third.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to look this up because I had no idea what rattle your dags means. So from the Urban Dictionary, rattle your dags. Hurry up, get a move on. Dags are clumps of matted wool and dung which hang around a sheep's rear end. When a daggy sheep runs, the dried dags, get this, knock together to make a rattling sound.
Oh, my goodness. Learn something every day.
Never know what you're going to learn on Sailing Illustrated University. The word dag, originally dag lock, I guess like dreadlock or like, I don't know, was a British dialect word that was borrowed into mainstream Australian English in the 1870s. The phrase is first recorded not until the 1980s. 1984, somebody called Thorne, Battler, I guess, or in Battler, what was this? Come on, Mom, rattle your dags. The old girls are hungry. Get some food on the table, I guess. And then Countryman in Perth, 2010, rattle your dags, wool classers. Time's running out to re-register yourselves with the Australian Wool Exchange.
Aha.
Now, do you know where the America's Cup ball was? In 86 or 7, 86. It was at the Wool Exchange in the building. It was hot, but it was cool. They made it all up. It was really a fantastic. Probably, yeah. I was there.
Yeah.
And probably Ed Worley was there and some others, but they took that Wool Exchange building.
Yeah.
And tried to cool it off with fans because it was so bloody hot in the middle of their summer. It's hot in Frio. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you know. But wait, you really want to know?
Yes.
See that?
Uh-huh. Okay.
See the back end?
Yeah.
That's the dags. So sheep dagging, how do we do it? I found a video. Not an Australian video, not a Kiwi video, but actually a very kind discreet gentleman from England. Have a look. From his website called My Country Life and his YouTube videos, sheep dagging, how we do it.
Right, so now we get on to the delicate subject of sheep dagging. You might well ask, what on earth is sheep dagging? Dagging, how do I put this delicately, is making sure that a sheep's bottom or back end is all nice and clean so that it doesn't attract flies and horribleness like that. Flies are actually really dangerous for sheep because they can very quickly kill a sheep with all the maggots crawling inside and eating the flesh, and it's actually very difficult to notice because all the wool just covers the problem area. So keeping sheep's bottoms nice and clean is a really important thing for a farmer or a smallholder to do. And well, sheep haven't quite developed the knack of doing it themselves, so it falls to, in this case, yours truly to do it. And so that's the task that I'm going to show you how we do it. One of the advantages of having sheep that are trained to follow you is that.
Now, do you really want to see this? I mean, now watch this. This guy's got his sheep so well trained, and they just need a dog or anything. They follow him back to the barn, and his wife or helper, whoever this gal is, then closes the gate behind them, and then he goes out into the yard and he tags his sheep. I don't think we want to watch this, Julia.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. But
Okay.
if Tom manages to circle this back around to sailing, I will be mightily impressed. Gordon Smith is saying. Well, that's how Buddy Melgus could tell which way the wind was blowing. No joke, he'd look up on the hill and see which way the cow and the sheep were oriented, and because they always turn downwind, put their bums into the wind, right? Okay, quick look here. I'm really not sure how much of this we want to watch. I mean, I haven't had breakfast yet, Julia, so.
So the thing which we do is, and it makes life a lot less stressful for us and for them, is to get them in a small area like this, but then to close the hurdles down so they really can't move. So they're all huddled together. It means that they can't get
seen enough. I think we've.
Yeah.
I think we've seen enough, Julia.
Yes. All right.
That's the end of this. Tom's tangential. Tom goes off on another tangent. I learned a lot though.
Dagging.
And if we hadn't seen that comment, from now on, I'm going to say to you, Julia, let's get our dags. Dags? No, not daggers. Our dags. Get off our dags or get our dags. Russell our dags. What was the comment? That was cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's get to some real America's Cup news. AC37 Cup Day from Ineos Britannia.
It's fantastic to have Ryan and Harry join our cycle squad for the 37th America's Cup. Both of them fresh from GB rowing and are identified through our talent ID testing protocol. Ryan is a top athlete with a huge engine who's competed in multiple World Cup events and most recently won the Henley Royal Regatta in 2022. Olympian Harry won silver in Tokyo and most recently silver in the World Championships in 2022. Both Harry and Ryan have slotted in seamlessly so far. It's been great to have them on board. As you would expect, they've brought that level of determination and high performance behaviour we would expect to see from athletes coming out of GB rowing. And already they've started to push other members of our cycling squad to raise the levels and be the best we can be. And it's going to be a really interesting run into the America's Cup in 2024 and watch this squad now grow and push each other to the absolute limit and see what power we can produce by the time we get there.
Well, wasn't that a nice segue from that British farmer to the Ineos Britannia team with their cyclors? I thought that was a cool video. John Emmett replying to Andrew McIrvin, what does a typical farmer say? He had said that does not sound like a typical farmer. I don't know. It sounded pretty good to me. My sister, who's a farmer of considerable repute, she, I'm sure, would have liked that. If the sheep put their tails into the wind, here they'd all whistle. Gramps me. Julia? Oh, man, it's Friday. I guess we can carry on here, right? Let's get to the, we haven't had Emmett's report yet. Coach's Corner with John Emmett is up next. John, our favorite, really our favorite son of the show, and he's been at the RYA Youth Nationals.
Great to see so many people here from other classes.
Me and a few of my mates give it a go in the radial because we want to move over next year. Just wanted to see how we could do.
It's my first time in the Youth Nationals. Let's look forward at the moment. I'm looking forward to some great sailing.
We started sailing 29ers in October and we want to start racing.
The big fleet here is really good, especially because in Ireland we only have about 15 29ers, so it's really nice being here with all the boats.
We're really happy because we never raced before and we're just seeing what we can do.
As well as being a serious event, it is also about the fun.
Youth Nationals, it doesn't really matter where you come, it's just a lot of fun. Just see how you can do within the fleet.
We're definitely a little nervous to come, but after the first day we're totally fine.
It's run really nicely and everything, and it's just nice and easy to come on the water, and they really get a lot of races in and stuff.
Being able to be with friends is quite fun.
It's not just racing and serious stuff. I think it's great and just give it a go.
Now that's just the promotional video for this event that has just concluded. John gave us a report on, I guess, Tuesday, maybe last Friday. No, not last Friday. He was still in Palma. I mean, what does this whole thing is intended to be instructive for our respective countries, and certainly here in the U.S. We're doing pretty well, maybe a little bit better in the developmental path. But does your country do a promo like that for their Youth Nationals? Hey, I've never sailed in this thing, but I want to. Or, yeah, I've sailed in this a lot.
I've never raced before.
Yeah, or I've never raced before.
Yes.
Was that cool or what?
Yeah.
So I just, bravo Zulu to the RYA for that. And can it be any wonder why they go down to Palma just now and win, what, 4 gold and a silver or something, 2 silver? I can't remember what the hell they won down there. But astonishing to see that going on. And John, of course, is there, and he gives his report. And then we're going to watch a couple of the video interviews he did with the winners in his beloved ILCA 6 and 7 classes. Have a look.
Hi, Tom, Julia and all the Fozy. And for those people watching on YouTube, please remember to subscribe so that you get the notifications for the twice weekly show. I'm here in Weymouth and thankfully the sun is shining and there's been lots of racing today. I was hoping to do the video a little bit later with an active background, but then I was worried I wouldn't get it edited and out in time. So yeah, looking around, it's pretty quiet. Always that element of danger. I can see a dog heading for my tripod as I speak, but I stand here in front of you with empty pockets and a smile on my face because it's just so good to see the champions of tomorrow. And what the RYA have done now is they've actually modelled the event over the sort of events that people have in senior to give them that preparation. So for the top 10 in a lot of classes, when there's a large fleet number, there will be a medal race. And likewise for the IQ foil, kite surf, the junior format is mirroring the senior format because as a coach or team leader or any of those roles, the aim is simply to get as much experience a young body as possible. So yeah, this has been a really good event. They've worked the media just like they would do normally. There's going to be a pit lane. The interesting thing, I look at the harbour, always seemed to be a very big harbour, but now it's getting smaller because the kite surfers and the IQ foils just go so fast. Medium to strong winds, they need the entire harbour to themselves. So the Ilkas, 420s, 29ers, they're outside, and I actually went outside and did a bit of filming, and it's a long way because the way it works, there's no coaching allowed for the national sailors who for them it's trials, and that just levels the playing field. Although there are a few international teams who've come with their own coach, that's obviously a different scenario. But this event happens every year and it's such a good indicator, as is the Youth World Championships, of how people are going to perform at senior level. But I'm going to get out of the way now before everyone comes off water and this area gets very busy. Enjoy the show and I should be watching with you. Comments, questions, always very, very welcome.
As are your videos, John. Just fabulous stuff continuing to come from John. And again, technically, I won't bore you with what he's doing with these videos, 4K, 60 frames, 120 frames. He's just doing everything at 4K now. And he dumbs it down so that he sends it to me. Now, I mean, he brings it down so it's not a 10 gigabyte file. It's only a 1 point something gigabyte file. So it doesn't take forever for him to upload it and for me to download it in the morning. Lots of comments, though. John himself saying the Musto sailor who waved in the background is the husband of one of the new WPNSA. That's the Weymouth and Portsmouth National Sailing Academy, the CEOs. I didn't notice that before. So yeah, there's some cool stuff going on. Another great video vlog from Gordon Smith saying, and you got to read Ryman's comment about that. And he's going back and forth while back on the farmer. He says, replying to Andrew McIrvin, not from my neck of the woods, Kent and Sussex. They're just like him after studying at the Hadlow Agricultural College in Kent. A couple of my friends are farmers that sound like toffs. Stingray says he subscribed to Emmett's YouTube channel and recommends it. Absolutely. John himself saying participation is key for any country. The broader the base, the higher the peak of the triangle. And the youth sailors are the future of our sport in 20 years, or maybe sooner. And Gordon saying this Weymouth Sailing Center is just the most excellent example of a huge legacy benefit from Olympic Games investment. That is all true, but I think it's also, I've concluded here that like John, there are a bunch of really good coaches in the UK, and they're getting better. And they don't try to tell each other how to coach, which is what's going on here in the U.S. They're trying to centralize from the top down at U.S. Sailing and telling everybody how to be a coach and an instructor. You got to do it our way, or we're not going to certify you and give you insurance. It's not the right way to do it. Is to get the coaches together and trade information and say, well, this is how I do it. This is how you do it. This is the right way forward. And Emmett's just another example. Now look at these two kids he's interviewed. They're the winners of the ILCA 6 men and the ILCA 7 respectively. And I find this, of this youth nationals that has just completed today, and I find this so refreshing and instructive. Enjoy.
I'm Christopher Marsh. Sailing ILCA 6. This is the RYA Youth Nationals we're at here. I had a pretty good race. I started off at the committee boat and kept it on starboard tack pretty much most of the beat because it kept going left. So I had a pretty good angle, and the rest of the fleet kind of went right a bit. And I came back on the ley line, on port ley line, and I happened to be in the lead quite a bit. So my wind boat speed's been pretty good. Last week in Palma would have helped with that, sailing the 7. But yeah, it's just it's not too choppy, it's quite flat, so it's pretty nice. Oh yeah, I'll be transitioning to the Ilka 7 at the end of this summer. So next year it'll be fully Ilka 7, I think. Well, right now I weigh like around 79, 80, and I'm trying to keep it down for the summer so I can just stay in the boat a bit. But by the end of the summer, I think I'd like to be around 82 kilos maybe. Key event will probably be Ilka 6 Youth World Championships in Poland, and I'm just hoping to do well there, so yeah. I'd really want to finish in the top 10, but I'm not too sure if I can or not, but yeah. I'd want to win as well, but final day of racing should be exciting, the medal race and all that. Just hopefully today I can keep being quite consistent and get a good set of results ready for tomorrow. I haven't done a medal race before, so.
I think the medal race got blown out today. John will comment on here. He's saying the Youth National Championship even have medal races now, so as good practice for the World Cup events. The RYA is always thinking ahead. And there's a lot of farmers' comments. Graham Sweeney saying, the Weymouth Sailing Center keeps it fun but knowledgeable. It is a great example of inclusive sailing. Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a sec. Great stuff. I'm so impressed, and it speaks well not only for British sailing, but I think for our sport in general. Let's look at this next video. This is the kid who
Final
won
day of the Youth National Championships here at the Weymouth and Portland
Ilka
National
7.
Sailing Academy. No racing today, so you're the champion.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Not been a great week, been a bit buggered by the wind, but it's always good to get the dub. So
if you can just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background and how the week went. It was definitely a mixed bag.
Yeah, so I'm Luke. I've been sailing the Ilka 7 for about a year now, and the Ilka for probably 5 now. So it's been a while. Yeah, it's been an all right week. The racing we've had has been pretty good. It's been reasonably windy, so it's always nice to get the legs aching a bit. But
You like to have your legs aching. You're obviously well suited to Ilka sailing, out in the bay as well. We often do a lot of racing in the harbour. Do you think that made a difference?
A little bit. It's always nice to have a few waves, especially downwind. I was pretty quick, so it makes life a bit easier then. So.
I mean, speed makes you a tactical genius, but what did you feel your strengths and weaknesses were?
Yeah, certainly boat speed was a big factor this week. There weren't many gains to be made tactically. Wind was fairly consistent, so just have good speed and get yourself a bit of clean air.
And what's you said this is your first year in the Ilka 7 class. What's next for you?
Yeah, so I'm off to here for the Olympic week in a couple of days. Out there for a couple of weeks, and then big ones, the under-21 Europeans, I think, this summer in Stavanger, so that should be good.
I'm glad you said that. I'm not quite sure you said that. Can you tell us a little bit about ENTZ? Because the French Olympic week, it's one of those real go-to regattas.
Yeah, it's one of the big ones in the calendar for the seniors, so that should be good fun. It's just a week, isn't it? 5 days?
Yeah.
I haven't read the SIs yet. So.
Top tip, I'd read the SIs, see what's going on. But what particular goals and aspirations do you have for that, and looking forward the longer term?
I think certainly in the moment it's just kind of experience. I'm still fairly new to all the international stuff, so it's just trying to get experience in the big fleet and where everyone's on it. It's not like the UK stuff where half the fleet's not at the same level as they're there, where everyone's fairly consistent. So.
Well, from the rib, I would say the depth or strength and depth just gets higher and higher every single year. But are you going to go sort of full-time sailing and stuff, or are you in education, or what goes on in your day-to-day?
So currently I'm on a gap year, so I've been kind of full-time sailing this year, and I'm going to university next year.
And where will that be?
So Surrey for mechanical engineering, so hopefully to keep doing the sailing through that, but I'm not too sure yet.
Well, I studied chemical engineering, and where there's a will away. Lots of luck for the future. Just any tips for those Ilka 6 sailors who are thinking about moving into the Ilka 7 this year or next?
hike hard, mainly, and eat a lot of food, get heavy. That's about it.
How much are you weighing at the moment?
About 80 kilos. So I'm still a little bit light, but getting there.
Good for you. Well, thanks ever much for your time, and I'm guessing you just want to go and pack your boat up.
Yeah, pretty much. Cheers, John.
I don't know if you could see in the background that message. Together you can see part of it. Together we transform lives through sailing.
Oh, that's nice.
That is really nice. That is the theme of the Andrew Simpson Foundation. Remember Bart Simpson, who tragically died here in San Francisco during the 2013, the lead up to the 2013 Cup. And that foundation has gone from strength to strength, and they have funded a lot of different things relating to sailing. And I think this Together We Transform Lives Through Sailing is just a fantastic claim. It's a fantastic theme.
Yes.
And I almost feel like that ought to be part of what we do, what we think we do. Part of our aspiration here is to transform lives through sailing. I mean, whether it's our FOSI, whether it's ourselves, whether it's anybody else who watches. And certainly when you grow up sailing, I've always asserted that you transform your life through sailing by virtue of becoming more self-reliant, by virtue of seeing what you getting your head out of the cockpit. You have to see what's going on around you, and taking care of everybody else out on the sea because there's nobody else to take care of them except each other. Fantastic stuff.
Yes.
They're asking back and forth how they accommodate people if there's housing there in Portsmouth and Weymouth. You have to go back, Julie, good point in time for you to say, go back and read the comments.
Yes.
Because it is. And lots of other great comments. Stingray saying, what is this guy, 6'8"? He's a head taller than John. John says, no, I'm a dwarf. I don't think he's a dwarf. But cool stuff, good stuff. We transform together. We transform lives through sailing. We hope we do just a little bit of that here on Sailing Illustrated. I think certainly John does with his videos. John Emmett, get to the front of the fleet, our regular contributor. And he likes to say, Julia,
be sure to like, follow, and share. Spread the good news.
Yeah, and subscribe and share to your own Facebook and YouTube pages. It's much appreciated.
Subscribe requires no funds.
Yeah, it's not a payment thing. It's just click the button and say that you're a subscriber. Okay, I want to go back to one other comment. Julia, you got to use your cough button there, please. Thank you. You got a cold.
I don't know what.
You got a bit of a cold. There's a cough drop there too on your table if you want to take that. We're a full service host.
Maybe an allergy.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I've got a spring allergy too. But I wanted to go back apropos this world record because there was a cool comment from somebody in Auckland, I think. Not Peter Taylor's. The Japanese have refined toilet seats to address this problem of sheep necks. Not sure if they have a sheep solution, though. Well, if anybody does, the Japanese would. Now, there was a comment here about, it's Luca Craig down in Auckland saying, school holidays at the moment, and Horonuku is on display every day, and between 12:30 and 1 every day, Glenn Ashby and other Landspeed team members will show up to chat as well.
Oh, that's good to know.
Isn't that cool? I think that's really nice. Okay, what happened, Julia, on this day in history? Talked a little bit about it on Tuesday, at least the precursor there too, on the 14th and 15th of April, 1912. Remember what we talked about on Tuesday? Here's your first clue.
Ah, yes.
Ah, yes.
The Titanic.
The Titanic. While in the North Atlantic Ocean, the Titanic hit an iceberg near midnight on the 14th of April and sank 2 hours and 40 minutes later on the morning of the 15th. So we've covered both our day and your day down under. The Titanic band, led by Wallace Hartley, famously played on as the ship sank and perished. You've all heard the story. And all the band perished. Captain Edward Smith went down with the ship in line with maritime tradition. But there's a little more here. Despite her size, she was only equipped, again, you probably all know, with enough lifeboats for roughly half her passengers. Due to outdated maritime regulations, consequently, when the ship sank, she went down with more than 1,000 people on board. Most of those who jumped into the water died of cold shock in the freezing temperatures. All around, 1,500 people died, making it one of the worst peacetime maritime disasters ever. As usual, we also bring you the backstory, don't we, Julia? For extra credit, what is this boat? What is this ship?
Lusitania.
Nope.
No?
Close, but no cigar. As they say. Yeah, everybody knew the Titanic hit the iceberg and then sank on the 15th. What else? That's Peter Taylor first got it right. That is the RMS Carpathia that only lived for 15 years, 1903 to 1980. Bill Wingrove's got it. Chris Exley's got it. Graham Sweeney, they've all got it. Carpathia, the rescue ship. Clayton Embley's got it. Carpathia navigated the ice fields to arrive. Apparently, it was quite a feat of navigation, too, if you believe Wikipedia, to arrive 2 hours and change after the Titanic had sunk. And the crew rescued 706 survivors from the ship's lifeboats. And you know how they knew about it so quickly? Because Marconi had a radio. They just started putting Marconigrams on these ships. And apparently the radio officers stayed at their station, too, on the Titanic until the captain finally was just off the bridge. He relieved them, and I don't know if they lived, but they were among the last to leave the boat. Now, speaking of the Carpathia, as we said, she didn't live very long herself. In 1918, she was sunk. She was torpedoed and sunk by a German U-boat off Land's End. First transmission, Chris Exley is saying, of SOS. I think that's right. Amazing how a romance movie got produced about the sinking of Titanic, Stingray is saying. Indeed. So that's the fate that Carpathia met, the hands of a German U-boat. But let's go back to the sinking here because we have another sailing connection. Okay, comment here. Fabian Harrelson, apparently the wreck is in bad shape. I think James Cameron, who was the director of the movie Titanic, reported this one of this many dives to it. Yeah, was he the director of the movie, or he was he dove to it many times? But look, there's more. I can't. There is another sailing connection. By the way, there was a member, as it turns out, of the Royal Canadian Yacht Club, who claims that and a lot of people were blaming the captain and saying that in fact, some people think he jumped off the back end of the ship. But a member of the Royal Canadian Yacht Club gave a big interview when he survived, and gave an interview saying, no, the captain was correct and went down with the ship and yada yada. So, but you know who this lady is, and what is she doing?
Well, she's awarding the cup.
She is. That's Margaret Brown, whose family
Tobin.
Was a Tobin, born in 1867 and died in 1932, a New York socialite. And she here in this photo is giving Arthur Henry Rostron, the captain of the Carpathia, a golden award for his service in the rescue of Titanic survivors. Why was she giving this award, this golden award? Because she was one of the survivors. Margaret Brown nee Tobin, posthumously known as the unsinkable Molly Brown, even though her name was Margaret and she went not by Molly, but apparently they came up with that in her obit, was an American socialite and philanthropist. She was a passenger on the Titanic, which sank, of course, in 1912, and she unsuccessfully, they say, urged the crew in lifeboat number 6 to return to the debris field and look for survivors. Unsinkable Molly Brown. Julie Ahrens has got it. During her lifetime, her friends called her Maggie, but by her death, her obits referred to her as the unsinkable Mrs. Brown. The Molly nickname was coined by the 1960 Broadway musical on her life and its 1964 film adaptation, which were both entitled The Unsinkable Molly Brown. I mean, we do the research for these things,
yes,
do we?
indeed.
Huh? You gotta bring the Fosey, this cool stuff. Now, she was a Tobin. Now, the modern day Tobin, who was the unsinkable Ashley Tobin. This is Bay Area sailor here on the right, Ashley Tobin, longtime friend. I'd done 3 campaigns with her, including BMW Oracle Racing. She was one of our lawyers, good lawyer, and she's actually lawyered for several other syndicates. Ashley Tobin, who we believe, we're not sure, we're checking this out, we believe is some kind of a distant relative to the and that's she's retained her family name. Her dad sailed in the Cup in the 50s or 60s, Toby Tobin, famously good sailor, New York Yacht Club member. Ashley Tobin, and somehow we think, they're checking on it, are all related to the unsinkable Molly Brown Nee Tobin. So how's that for a connection?
That's good. There's a long, famous Tobin family in San Francisco, too.
Is there? I wonder if they're all related.
Undoubtedly.
Bill Wingrove says Ballard was the Woods Hole researcher that led the mission which found the Titanic. Julie Aarons knows that movie, and apparently the stage show was played by Kathy Bates, whose husband was Master Bates, right? I'm sorry, I'm sophomore. It's Friday. The cable-laying ship that went out to look for the bodies is worth a research, Tom. They would have saved Jack, Johnny. Okay. Was Margaret Brown in this photo facing downwind?
Oh,
Stingray. Julia, that deserves a finger shake.
That does.
At Stingray.
Yes, shame on you.
So that is Ashley on the right, lawyer for many AC teams and a longtime friend, and we appreciate very much her contribution. This is just shortly after 2 p.m., 1400 here in San Francisco. And welcome to our show number, what is it, 609, Julia? Bloody hell, they do run by fast.
Yep.
Let's go to the ocean race. There's not a lot of news, but it's kind of cool stuff that they're sending out to keep people informed, keep people interested in what's going on as they're down, as you all know, in Itajaí here in Brazil. About to start leg 4 up to Newport. They start on the 23rd of April. And in the meantime, remember that video we showed on Tuesday? And I showed half of it. And we all liked, I think there were so many nice comments about it. I thought I'd show you the second half of it. About 5.5, maybe 6 minutes long. The second half of this drone video, composite from all the different boats in the race on the leg 3. Leg 3? Yeah, from Cape Town over to Itajaí. Have a look. Yeah, a little longer than we normally play, eh? But
Oh, it's really good.
what a nice piece.
Whoever did that soundtrack is a genius.
Yeah, everybody's commenting about it, about how nice the sound, how much it adds
Yes.
to the video. Stingray, yay! The first, I'm working from up down now, higher up in the comments. Yeah, it seems a little late for the. Everybody must be off their game. He's the only one that's gotten a finger wag, Julia. Wow, great footage. Greg Phillips, I think we all agree. Drone Stingray says are just so awesome for filming yachting. Wow. I can't believe Jody Shields is still the only one of us permitted to say testicle. Is that true? No one else can say that, Julia?
I don't know.
I don't know why they can't. These drone videos are fantastic, Julie Ahrens is saying. They give the viewer a you are there experience. I'm so glad that we now have the technology. Absolutely. How did we manage without drones? Fantastic footage, Ted Ryman says. Chris Exley, astonishing how, Malicia keeps her bow up.
Yes.
Interesting. John Emmett replying to Julie Ahrens, yes, I am trying to get more and more drone footage. Yes, he is. Jody can get away with almost anything. He adds the color tithe show? To the show, I think she means. The color to the show. Stunning footage. Yeah, he could tithe. We could send us some money, Jody. You could tithe the show. Jay Rendell up in Minnesota. It would be cool if music like that was playing during our races.
Yes.
But didn't they do a nice job of pairing the music with the videography?
Absolutely.
Despite the almost shockingly good video, the music seems to make a huge difference too. Stingray says, this soundtrack works for me. Up, up, up. Yep. Yeah. Lots of nice comments. That close after 13,000 miles.
We should find out who did that.
Okay.
And talk to
You're
them.
assigned coordinating producer to find out who did that.
Yeah.
Contact them over the weekend. Andrew McIrvin. That close after 13,000 miles. Thank you. Andrew, again, be on with us next Tuesday. We haven't had Andrew on in a while. Heck, Stingray. Maybe put Louie or Louie by the Kingsman over the next one. I don't think so. A second that you can feel the action. Cool how they dubbed in the sound of the water, Chris. Actually, yeah, they dubbed in a lot of stuff. Allegro Strings. Freight Train. Just, wow, great video. People are very happy. Why send the man up when the drone could look for wind? I don't think that's legal. Andrew, and I'm not sure the drone can see the wind very well. That's a good question. There's another good question. Andrew, you're assigned to find the answer before you come on the show on Tuesday, if you would, please. There is not enough money in the world that could ever get me to climb that high on the mast. They need to show the onboard shots with drone footage, Graham Sweeney. Yeah. Steve Atkins, I signed up at Sail Newport to volunteer this time around. Very excited. Good, Commodore Steve Atkins in Connecticut. Jody is on. I'm the only one that has the balls to say testicle.
Jody.
That requires a finger shake, Julia.
Unbelievable.
Congratulations to Jody and his spouse. So we've got a photo. I haven't used it, but nice photo from Facebook of him and his wife revowing their vows. Is that the right word? Revowing? Renewing their vows. Thank you. If a man could get married to the same woman twice, Jody could possibly do anything. Graham Sweeney. Frederick Renee Bernard Sons.
Yeah.
Peter Taylor. Wow.
Yeah, thank you, Peter Taylor.
Oh, Andrew McIrvin's already investigated. He's saying there is no rule yet. Have already investigated whether they can use the drone to check footage. That video, of course, from the Ocean Race.
Okay.
And a little longer than we normally play, but I think you all enjoyed it. I certainly did. Julie, I hope you did.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they also now are doing their favorite shots from each of the boats and releasing them on their website. This is from, obviously, Malicia. This photo tells so many things: power, speed, force, but also elegance. With Will at the back, you can see Will there at the back, can't you? I mean, there he is. He's just right there, tiny. With Will at the back, it helps to give a scale of how big Malicia Sea Explorer is. This photo sums up well what incredible leg this was. And I think you're going to see more such stills, such individual photos from each of the boats that are their favorites. This is one of my favorites. Speaking of Will, I don't know if a lot of people realize this. Will was in Alicante in race control last time. He's gone from race control to race skipper. It's a big step from race control. They did a nice feature article on him on the website today. But a big step from race control in Alicante to skippering in a Mocha team in the ocean race. Malizia's Will Harris is enjoying every step of the journey. I'm not going to reprise the entire article, but in the 2017-18 edition of the VOR, Will Harris was a duty officer in race control in Alicante, Spain, providing shore support from race headquarters. And we haven't had him on the show, but we featured some of the videos, the dock walk videos that he's done. Quite good, actually. Now he's preparing to leave the dock in Itajaí as skipper of Team Malizia for leg 4 of the ocean race, unlike leg 2, where Harris stepped up to the role with Boris Herman off the boat, recovering from an injury. This was a scheduled promotion, a recognition of Will's talent, ambition, and motivation, as well as the strength of the larger team. So bravo Zulu to Will Harris, who will be Malizia's official skipper for leg 4. Cool stuff. That's the scene down there now. They've just put Guillaume Environment back in the water. She, of course, the one that de-lambed and didn't sail leg 3. Sail got fixed up a little bit in Spain, in Ted Ryman's hometown in Cape Town, and then made it across to Itajaí, did some more work. They're now back in the water and getting ready for the start, which is leg 4 to Newport, of course, starts on Sunday, April 23rd. And I don't think, some of you asked, why don't we try to do a watch party? I don't think we'll do that. Maybe we'll do a watch party of some of the action in Newport, the inshore race, the import races they now call them, and or the start or finish, the finish or the subsequent start in Newport, we shall see. Okay, this is an interesting, any comments, Julia? Good on you, Will Harris. Chris Exley saying, yep, good indeed. Thanks, Chris. I totally agree. I'm really pleased. Maybe we'll get Will on here at some point. I've traded emails with him, but I've never talked to him live and in person. But maybe one way or another we can. Now, we told you some time ago about the new documentary that's out, that was coming out, and we ran the trailer on here. I'm working to get the director and or the executive producer on, but it's about Buddy Melgus, and it was premiered in Annapolis, the Annapolis Film Festival last month, 25th of March. Melgus, the Wizard of Zenda. It's on, I'm not sure where, if it's on Netflix or where it's available, but we haven't had access to it ourselves yet. But Alex Hayworth sent me. He was not there, he said, but he saw this on Facebook and sent this nice image. And apparently it was a big crowd, and the documentary has been very, very well received. Melgus, the Wizard of Zenda. So we'll do our best to get that sorted out one way or another, get the director and or executive producer, maybe both of them, on the show live sometime soon, Julie. Would you approve?
Absolutely.
I think we should do that. It's lots of thumbs up for that. Now, you see that wall over there, and there's some special area over there to the left of this wall. Now, I don't know what's going on over there, and I texted with Alex this morning to see if he was there. He doesn't know, but I have had to do a corrector crutonic because there's some people that think that given the age of the audience, there may be beds over there. Do you know they're putting beds in theaters?
No.
Double beds.
Really?
You don't believe me?
No.
Check your monitor. And I don't think that's in that theater in Annapolis. But I ask you, is having a double bed with a bit of privacy, and there's a blanket there, so you could get cuddly under the blanket. This is not a porn theater, I'm told. We're going to send Jody Shields to check this out for us to see what's going on. Is this correct, Julia, or is it crutonic?
It depends.
Would you go to a theater and lay down like that with somebody and watch a film, if even
I'd stay on my couch.
You do it. Do it on your lazy boy upstairs in the Commodore suite. So I asked the Fozy, is this correct or crutonic to have a movie? And this is a real theater, obviously. Correct or crutonic? Chris Exley says it's crutonic. It's way over the edge. It may have started as an adult theater. with today's videos and YouTube, or not YouTube, but porn channels, why would you even go to a theater to watch porn? It may not have, you could get popcorn in all kinds of places. They'd have to ban, you'd have to ban hot dogs, Julia.
Uh-oh.
There's a finger wag for Graham Sweeney. God, we've gone from none to 3 in a row. This could have been a caption contest. Could beat the back seat at a drive-in theater.
Right.
Yeah. Bob Walker, good comment. Chris Dewar, I can't stay awake at home watching a movie. Why subject myself to public sleeping? Clayton Emily, where were those when I was in high school? That's a good comment.
Yeah.
Melgus was the best. Jim Glick, up in Minnesota, hell of a good sailor, long time acquaintance. I really don't know Jim well, but he's a terrific sailor. Jim, have you seen the documentary? Is it really good? Is it as good as people are saying? Jim's on here.
Yeah.
He's probably seen it. Correct. Looks like fun. Ted Ryman would say that. Ed Worley saying, no, it's stupid and croutonic. Gordon Smith, I didn't know this. A Victorian era cinema still open in the 1980s in, how do you say this? Pocelli? I have no idea how to say that in Welsh. In North Wales, had double seats on the rear row for courting couples.
Well,
that's
nice?
just a love seat. That's not a love bed, though. I mean, it's dark and you got blankets. I mean, what could be better, Julie? It's weird. It's weird, at least a bit croutonic. I think, Julie, I agree with you. I think that's the right answer. It's weird. It's a bit croutonic. I would never make use of them, I don't think. Just add beer, it would be perfect, Jody Steele. They would have to have been great. They would have been great to have when they released Wind. I think most people think it's weird. I don't know if we think it's croutonic. Julia, you have the final
it's
determination.
It's sort of fun to look at just visually, but I think it's not.
It's croutonic, let's admit it.
Absolutely.
I wonder where it's said. Jody, you got to track that down for us. Tell us where that theater is, which gets us, thankfully, after an hour and 20 minutes to the final leg, the last leg. And we're going to cover Sail GP today on the last leg because there's some interesting stuff here in the lead up to the Mubadala Sail GP Season 3 Grand Finale here in San Francisco. Sail GP spectacle of exhilarating races, intense rivalries, and action-packed entertainment returns to San Francisco for the Mubadala Season 3 Grand Final on May 6th and 7th. And that's the Sail GP website. Then if you go to the ticket site, interesting, this is what is called the Eventbrite company, which is one of these like Ticketmaster. It's a ticket company. Eventbrite, it doesn't have the sponsor's name on it, which I found interesting. Sail Grand Prix, United States, May 6th, 7th. And the tickets are selling for between $30 and $75. Of course, you're going to go to St. Francis and watch it in the grill room.
Right.
And I will be upstairs on the race deck doing the commentary at the request of the club to do what we did last year, reprise that. And they promised me that they're going to feed the commentary downstairs to the grill room.
Better.
As well as the trophy lounge so that those of you down there can hear.
Right.
And we'll do that again this year and interview people who are there and so on. If any of you are going to be here, let us know. That's May 6th and 7th. And we'll probably have a cocktail here for Fozy and for Beach Street Yacht Club members, but also for Fozy on the Saturday night like we did. Should we do that?
No.
Huh?
Sure.
Wasn't that fun?
It was.
I think it was. It wasn't very long.
Oh.
And Peter and Sandy were here, among others, and it was good fun. So that's the Eventbrite website. But they've also, the Canadian team has issued, I think, a nice video. I love this Canadian team. It's not just because my wife's Canadian or because I'm a hockey player, but I think you'll like this video, just a short one, featuring one of the.
Hi, my name's Tom Ramshaw of the Canadian Sail GP team. I'm one of the grinders, but more specifically, the forward-facing grinder. We call it the G2 position. Difference between the backward-facing grinder and the forward-facing grinder is I have a view of the jib, therefore I also control the jib. Jib's pretty simple, normal sail. I have controls to do the sheet at my feet, foot buttons in and out. I have the lead buttons moving the car on the track, in and out. I got the Jib Cunningham, in and out. And then the thing that also gets added to my position is I invert the wing through the tacks and jibes. So that timing is important through the maneuver, and that's these buttons here. Other than that, we're just trimming the wing to balance the boat. 2 gears, direct drive to the winch you can see turning there. That's pretty much the position. Often my role also has communication based on a good view of the course. So we work that in as well where we can, and hopefully get the boat around the course as fast as possible.
Now that, Commodores, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think, Julie. I thought that was one of the best videos we've seen from Sail GP. They'll let the Canadian Sail GP team produce more of those.
Yep, and very instructive.
It was very instructive. I got this cable dangling down my back and it's sticking out. I look like a crouton. Don't mind my cable.
Plugged in.
I am plugged in. Well, it's my earpiece, but we got a black billboard up there, and I wanted to switch here to the standings going into that. Yeah, that is family dinner. What have I missed? Hi, Andrew Pindar. It's Coronation Saturday.
Yes.
I guess Prince Harry's going to be there, but we'll be watching the coronation early in the morning. Australia in the lead with 84 points, New Zealand 73, France 69, Emirates GBR 68. And again, you know the format. I think that's it for teams that have a chance to really get in the podium. That is the top 3, and then get into that final race for the $1 million. And it's a winner take all. Whoever wins that gets into, first of all, into the race, and then wins it gets the $1 million, the big prize. So we shall see here on the 6th to 7th, Saturday, Sunday, right?
Should be good racing, though.
That is a Saturday, Sunday, isn't it? There's practice racing on Friday. So it should be good racing. We'll see how it goes. Let's do a poll on who is going to win Season 3 Sail GP. Okay, Jody, start us out, please. Gordon is saying to Andrew, you know what you missed? You missed testicles and dirty sheep bottoms. Andrew McIrvin is saying you missed lots. Oh, the Fozzie. We had a lot of people on here watching too. They're going to think. Jody says it's the Aussies. Aussie. Slingers is a ringer. Chris actually saying he thinks the Aussies are going to win too, I guess. Anybody else? Julie, while they're slinging that in, who do you think is going to win?
I don't really know.
You think the Kiwis are going to come from behind now? And they've been pretty strong.
They have.
I think it depends on the breeze. If it's a breezy weekend, my guess is that the Slingsby and Co. will win. If it's a light weekend or lighter weekend, I think you might see the Kiwis win. My guess. But, you know, Ben could be in there too. Ted Ryman is saying Great Britain. Pindar is saying we are a disgraceful bunch. That is for sure true. Julie thinks Slingsby will win. Julie Aarons. Stingray is saying BAGBR went after France and Christchurch. I'm sure he will try again this time. Oh, come on, Stingray. Be a little more committal than that. Who do you think's going to win? Come on, Stingray. I hope it's a good race. I don't hope it's, last year it was kind of a ho-hum thing. Yeah. So there wasn't much breeze on Sunday. It was a bit croutonic lightish, and they had abandoned the race, didn't they? The final medal race, abandoned it and restarted because there was, whale on the course, or there was.
Oh, yes.
Wasn't there a whale on the course or something? I'd love to see the Kiwis, but she thinks Slingsby. Okay, so that's coming up. We're going to look forward to that, and we'll be over covering it at the YC. If any of you are in town, we've got limited capability of getting people into the club because the club is so swamped, but we can take a few guests in ourselves. Stingray is saying, if I had to bet, it could be on Pete, Burling, and Co. to win the grand final, but it will be close. Well, I don't know. It probably won't be close, but Stingray, we could have a bet on whether it's close or not and let it go at that. It gets us to the finish line, thanks to Mr. Wingrove and the Davis Island Yacht Club down in Tampa, Florida. And Julia?
Yes.
We got a couple finger shakers here today.
We have several today.
Well, we got some more.
Uh-oh.
In Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. This first one, I always start out clean. You like this one? We always talk about the kids and their damn phones. Look at this, a bunch of old farts sitting there, all 4 of them with their heads buried in their phones.
Mm-hmm.
It was got to have a caption contest for this. I mean, why aren't they playing cards or why aren't they having a cocktail? None of that's going on. They just got their heads buried in their phones.
Well, they might be playing a game.
That can't be correct, Julia.
They could be playing a game together.
And speaking of, I don't know if anybody's got a caption, but speaking of that, who is this?
Oh.
Pre-show. I mean, you come down here from the Commodore's suite into the studio. That's you just today before the show. Look what you're wearing today.
I know, and reading.
You're on the phone, texting away the whole time you're here. So.
Well, I'm working on a sewage problem in Calistoga.
Up at your house?
Yeah.
In Calistoga.
Mm.
Did you solve it?
Closer.
A sewage problem. Well, you looked engaged there. You're not asleep. You're definitely on the phone.
I know.
God. Jim Glick, Aussie, great show. He's betting on the Aussies. Thank you. Go Sail GP, super fun to watch. Old farts trying to recover their youth, Julie Aarons is saying. Graham Sweeney says they're watching Sailing Illustrated.
You bet.
Oh, they're watching Pornhub. How do you know about Pornhub, Stingray? Never heard of Pornhub, have you? No. I haven't either.
That's unusual.
Okay, Julia, here's your finger shake. I've just done a silent fart, she says. What should I do? And the gentleman says, put new batteries in your hearing aid.
I think that's funny.
I think it's funny too, and I don't know who said it, but since some of us here at least are old farts, I thought that was well. That's not a finger shaker. That's funny.
Well, it's. I think it's pretty funny.
Huh?
It's pretty funny.
Julia just went like this. Repeat it, and I'll put it up here on the. It's pretty fun. This one. Who else would have sent something like this, Julia? Who do you think sent that? Stormy Daniels Porn Flakes, the original and best since 1979. A huge part of a complete fustercluck. Ted Ryman sent that, and that's how we end today's. Yes. Go see, Rick Bannerow says, go see an ENT specialist. Only Ted Ryman would send us something like that, and I don't think that deserves a finger wag, does it?
Not necessarily.
Kind of clever, but sophomoric for sure,
yes.
Juvenile. Julia, you're a witness. Not that porn flakes thing, but
I know. We can skip that breakfast.
You're a witness.
Yes. Please like, follow, and share.
And you can do the next one. Comments too.
Comments are welcome, even in replay. And I underline the fact that it's really fun to go back and read the comments because we all miss some of the repartee going through it.
Graham Sweeney said, I'd buy them for the toy. That would be Ted Ryman. Thank you, everybody, and thanks especially to those of you who are patrons. You become a patron via Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Give us $1 or $2 or $5. Some people give a lot more than that per month. Keep us on the air. Thank you to the people who give us audio, video, and images for today's show. Julia, any final thoughts?
No, we hope keeping the world together and smiling faces.
I think we will. And the people on here, I'm sure in their own little sphere, are doing their best to keep the world intact. I'll put that up full screen just for a sec. Julie Aaron saying, thanks, great show. Fun and informing evening. Gordon Smith is saying, my thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Chris Exley, same to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. And a reminder that on Tuesday, we will have Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin with us, going to give us an update on this latest strain of, I guess it's a corona. What is it? It's a strain coming out of India that we've now got here in the U.S. Yeah. And it's, well, we'll hear from Andrew what it is. It's apparently more transmissible even still, but we'll see if it's more dangerous or not. He'll have the latest on that and a number of other things, including the upcoming IMA, International Maxi Association, the big boat season in the Med, in Europe, and beyond. Hope you can join us next Tuesday, same time, same channel. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend wherever in the world you are. Go sailing, and if you do, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.